Wrestling fans around the corner, around the world, I'm Dan Marty.
And I'm John Cena Sr.
The lights in the Thunderdome down near one of your estates in Tampa, Florida are going down. The lights here at MWF Studios downtown Melrose, Massachusetts in the zip code of Champions 02176 are going up. It is a fabulous Friday. Wrestling Insiders is now. Wrestling fans around the corner, around the world, I'm Dan Marty.
And I'm Mr. USA WWE Hall of Famer Tony Atlas.
The road to WrestleMania has begun. Wrestling fans are looking to add to their man caves. You got to see what we have in the eBay store.
Check it out.
Support Wrestling Insiders and keep wrestling legends working on eBay. Get this limited edition WWE NXT Johnny Gargano personally autographed 11x14 comic book style poster, a great addition to the collection of any Johnny Wrestling or NXT fan direct from WWE. Also comes with a mystery autographed 8x10 photo and an on-air shout-out from WWE Hall of Famer Mr. USA Tony Atlas on Wrestling Insiders at your house. Get it now. Boston wrestling sports in the MWF explodes into a new year with professional wrestling content galore and need you to join our family. Every Tuesday night at 10 p.m. after our Monday Night Raw review, it's Wrestling Insiders at your house with WWE Hall of Famer Mr. USA Tony Atlas. Wednesday nights at 10 p.m. after NXT and AEW, join rotating legends on Wrestling Insiders Special Edition. Every Thursday night at 10 p.m. after our NXT and Dynamite review, it's Marty Jannetty's no-holds-barred sex, drugs, and rock and roll journey on Wrestling Insiders Party with Marty. Friday night after SmackDown, don't miss John Cena Sr.'s Wrestling Insiders Fabulous Fridays. Plus, look for classic clips, history videos, bonus live episodes, pay-per-view, watch-alongs, and more. For less than a cup of coffee at Starbucks, get early ad-free access to our Wrestling Insider talk shows, our acclaimed studio shoot interview DVD library, and help keep wrestling legends working during the worst of times. Join our growing family at patreon.com/Boston Wrestling. Expect the unexpected in 2021.
This is Mick Foley.
This is Harley Race.
This is Shelton Benjamin.
This is Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff.
This is the Monster Abyss.
And this is Daniel Bryan.
This is JBL, and you're watching the MWF.
Be there live.
Hi, wrestling fans. Welcome to another Wrestling Insider Fabulous Fridays. What a week it has been. We began with Tony Atlas on Tuesday talking about the Tyler Rex transformation. On Special Edition Wednesday night, Brian Knobbs discussed WWF in 1991. Last night, Marty Jannetty attempted to discuss several of the great veterans that have passed away recently, but the GPS in Marty and Tony's brains travels in ways that technology was never intended to sometimes.
Well, I'm sure eventually they got there. They just took a different route to get there.
Exactly. It may have taken them through different parts of the country and maybe even different countries, but they got to the final destination.
Yep.
And we have now on Sundays, for the podcast style, Atlas World News.
You know what? You got to check out the last edition of the Atlas
Which was
World
technically
News.
the first one,
Yeah,
too,
it was
yeah.
great, I'm telling you. Tony, no holds barred. Talk about professional wrestling. Let's talk about world affairs. This man has something to say about everything. You can't miss this.
I had to actually scold him on the episode, Johnny.
Why?
The last time he was here, the day after, I got barked at a little bit because he left his half-open can of Sprite, wrappers from Fortune Cookies, and fingertip-touched duck sauce from his chicken wings that he had, like it was a smorgasbord.
So no, with the COVID, you've got to be very careful in what you're doing. We're trying to keep the disease down. We want to be good for WrestleMania. We want the live events to come back. So, all right, you took the scolding, maybe justly so.
Well, maybe Tony should just be, act like he's 3 and throw it away himself.
Well, that's why we have people. Well, no, that's why we have people in the studio.
Oh,
Remember,
I don't know.
Tony is a Hall of Famer. He's a professional wrestler. He's a great guy. He's a great human being. So you know what? When it's over, have somebody pick up.
When you reach Hall of Fame status, you don't have to throw your fortune cookie wrapper away.
when you reach Hall of Fame, you don't need a hot fortune cookie.
All right. Well, he already cast the fortune cookie.
Ah, okay.
All right. Now I understand. All right, wrestling fans. Ton of questions from you guys. We're going to try and put them together in themed episodes. Johnny, by the time this episode airs, it will be this coming Wednesday night. What a unique match. They have a headlining AEW Dynamite from Daly's Place, named after your good friend Ursula Daly down in Jacksonville, Florida. It'll be Cody Rhodes teaming up with a newcomer to the sport that I don't think I've ever seen once, Red Velvet, taking on Jade Cargill in Shaq. What are your thoughts of the big man having his first official bell-to-bell matchup?
All I'm going to say is this. Shaq's a big, big man. You are putting a giant against two Davids. This is just, you know what? I guess I got to come right out and say it. It doesn't belong in professional wrestling.
You're going to upset some AEW fans.
I don't
Johnny.
really
Why
care.
don't you feel this belongs?
Well, you know what? This is well, I guess it's entertainment, so to speak. But you know what? Shaq is a well-known basketball player. He's the man of the hour. He does his thing. He knows his thing. Now you're going to take this, and I mean this giant, this gentle giant, by the way, and put him in this ring against professional wrestlers. You know
and you're
what?
also including two very, very new, untested women in this match.
That's very right.
Which I think makes it an even bigger chance for it to blow up in their face as an in-ring disaster.
Well, here's what's going to happen. Knowing Shaq the way we do, right? Do you think he's going to bang a woman, knock her in the face, pick her up and give her a body slam? So really what we have is Cody Rhodes against Shaq O'Neal, and the two women will do their battling. Look at the size of Shaq's hands. Paul Wright, Big Show, Andre the Giant. Let's take a look at the reality here. It's like a Beanie Baby. See it, Cody? Wow! 7th row. Bye. Oh, and by the way, put the points on the board. I got a basket. No, I'm not into this.
Do you think, who's going to be the heel in this match, maybe is the better question. Do you think the fans in Florida would want to boo Shaq where he is a Orlando Magic legend?
I still think Shaq's going to be the face unless they tweener him, and then all of a sudden we get Cody come out as a face. Cody's been a heel there. Why would you want to change him?
I think he's been the face of the company.
Yeah, but he is the face of the company. There's no question about it.
So who do you boo?
I would think that it's going to be Cody Rhodes that's going to get booed.
This is, I go back to Johnny now, I hate to say it because I think you and I both have wanted to see AEW do well, but the quality and the thought process of part of these shows has been bad, and it's been getting worse in my opinion. Again, you usually have 1 or 2 segments, matches per show that I think are excellent. I think they're pay-per-view quality. I think they're exceptional, sometimes better than the best part of the WWE shows that week. On the flip side, they continue to put segments on that I don't understand the logic, the common sense, or the quality behind them. I wouldn't put them on an independent show, never mind on TNT cable television.
Well, you know, you're right. Some of the things they've done, like, why is Khan on camera? He can't speak, can't promote, let him spend his money, run the wrestling business the way he should, and let the professionals do what they do best and promote the business. He just doesn't add anything to it. If anything, when he comes on, I change the channel. There's just nothing there. There's no excitement. You'll never know who's going to show up next. You'll never know who's going to show up next. A little enthusiasm would help promote it.
Well, his involvement on the actual AEW TV show has been very, very minimal, to be fair.
Yeah, but when he's trying to push the upcoming suspense, who's coming next? Impact, New Japan, Boston Wrestling, WWE. You don't know, Tony. You know what? They started out great. They have a real nice product. They were answering what the fans wanted. Wrestling. They were putting it out there. Now they're coming up with the gimmick matches. You know what? I'm going to tell you something. This was a big complaint way back when Big Show took on the boxer, and you could see his trainer come out with the brass knuckles around his throat. I mean, you knew exactly what was going to happen. And Show did the job for this young man, which I think is admirable. Doesn't make any sense to me. Big Show would have picked him up and squashed him like a bug.
If it was a shoot,
If it was, oh yeah, it would have been over. You know, it would have
I
been
don't
over.
know. I think all it would really take is one good shot from Mayweather, and I think Big Show.
You got to
would have
get
been
it first.
in Tampa.
You got to get
gotta
it
connect
first.
it first.
And you would never do it. Show's reach and size of his arms, why do you think they would stand so far away? They didn't want Mayweather to get hurt, period. And now you get Shaq O'Neal. Shaq O'Neal, who's been involved before, by the way.
He was in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal at WrestleMania 32 in front of 100,000 plus in Dallas, Texas.
That's right.
He's done a couple of Raw, at least one Raw appearance I can think of off the top of my head.
So he's not new to this. But
He's new to it, but it's
Well,
not
he's-
his first rodeo. but
Right,
He's
right.
he's still a relative newcomer to what we do.
But, what do we do? We train people to work in the ring. That's what we do. We provide entertainment. So no matter, I don't know how to take what you're saying, he's not new. He's been involved. He understands what we need, what it takes to make it work. Whether it's going to work with Cody, young lady, Shaq, young lady, I see a female bout, and I see Cody Rhodes against Shaq. Maybe we'll have 4-on-4, where they all come in the ring and the referee loses control, and maybe Shaq snaps, becomes the new heel. Who knows? What do you do with a man of this caliber? Where do you put him?
I don't understand the whole premise of it. I understand that AEW is looking to try and get new eyeballs to sample their product. Is a 48, 49-year-old Shaquille O'Neal the recipe to make that supper happen? Do you think you'll get a lot of new eyeballs tune in to see Shaq, where it has been discussed on some of TNT's NBA programs, games?
Sports Illustrated will pick it up. I mean, you get other stuff that'll be picked up.
Would
by
that
it.
make you want to go out of your way to see it if you weren't a wrestling fan?
I'm not interested in that match.
So you're a wrestling fan and you're not even interested in
I
it?
could care less about that match.
All right.
I have no. That's just going to be. I bet you that's going to be a 2 or 3 month storyline.
Well, I say this, and this is going to come up sometime soon on this show about Lacey Evans, but we'll wait for that. With Brandy Rhodes, maybe the saving grace is that she did become pregnant, because I think she's a lovely lady, but she is one of the worst personalities in all of professional wrestling. She doesn't offer much of anything other than what her last name is, in my opinion. The wrestling isn't there. The announcing wasn't there. The promos weren't there. They keep trying to come up with these over-the-top scenarios for her where she's either the Stephanie McMahon of the company or she's almost like Alexa Bliss. She was the leader of this possessed troupe with Awesome Kong and Luther. And it seems like everything they've put her in has just been a flop and a complete and utter disaster. Again, maybe if there is a saving grace, maybe it's that she can't take away from whatever presence Shaq brings to the ring when he's in there with Mr. Rhodes.
Well, I think part of your situation is going to be this also. You really don't have a crowd there.
Oh, no, they do.
Well, no, a crowd.
A big crowd.
Yeah, that's what's going to get the pop for Shaq, if he's there. So, you know what? Again,
You don't think
non-wrestling
750's
fan-
enough?
What's that?
You don't think 750's enough? Well, I mean, to people that have worked in front of no one, 750's a pretty good house.
I'm not arguing that. I worked in front of 10.
Yeah, well,
I drove all the way up to Maine.
we're not talking coronavirus times.
No,
with
I'm
that.
talking no Corona time. All the way up to Maine, way up there, and worked in front of 15 people. But it's not how many you work in front of; it's the ability to perform. And that's key. And like I say, wrestling fan, non-wrestling fan, when you try to bring this all together, unless what they're trying to do is find their giant, and I just don't think it works. If they're looking for a giant, I've got several friends, 6 foot, 6'6", huge, perfect, great. You want somebody that can wrestle, look the part? There you go.
You know
in
some
their early
giants.
30s. Yeah, I have several friends like that.
Now, where do you know all of these giants from?
Well, it's a long story. But I did a couple of weddings. One of the best men was so big he couldn't button his collar. He was 6'5", huge hands. This guy was unbelievable. And Buddy said to me, quote unquote, I make more money on YouTube doing raps.
What does he do on YouTube?
He does raps.
He's a giant rapper.
He just raps. He makes a lot of money. And you know what? I just think that there's room.
Do you know how to get a hold of this man?
Yeah, I do.
Well, we perhaps could use him Sunday night as part of the Cecil the Lion's land party. Call it a giant party. I'm sorry if my voice is a little raspy fans 3 straight days of Marty Jannetty, I almost took the knockout punch in the throat. It was a lot of talking over 3 days. We taped, my God, almost 30 hours worth of content.
But it's like being on a diet and me taking you to a buffet. Who's shoving the food in your face? So fans, no excuses. He did what he did. He's happy he did it. And now you'll have great content. You'll be partying with Marty. You'll have all kinds of things from Marty Jannetty, who I respect personally. Great, great guy. Even though the GPS may go in a different direction once in a while, hang in there with Marty. You can't go wrong with that kind of party.
He is yet another individual looking forward to sampling the Fabo Pop. Every time he's here, he picks up the bottle. And
you got some right here.
Well, this is for the set. We don't want to ruin that.
Well, I'll tell the fans I've been getting more and more emails. I don't know how this is getting out, but more and more emails asking for autographed bottles of Fabo Pop.
Not just the Fabo Pop. They have to be autographed.
Autographed.
I mean, when do you see the turnaround on this? I know you gave me a date at one point, but I don't want to state it.
I'm gonna try to. Hopefully, things are back to normal at the company that produces my soda. I'll find out on March 1st. If they are, then I'll probably order maybe 15, 20 cases.
Maybe in time for WrestleMania. Fans can have WrestleMania parties with Fabo Pop.
Or you're gonna have WrestleMania party with Fabo.
Now, where are you going to be for WrestleMania?
I'm certainly not going to be in Tampa, Florida.
Why is that?
I've not been asked to go.
You don't need to be asked to go. That's like Vince saying, no one invited me to WrestleMania.
Well,
What can I say? I run the show.
haven't been asked.
If you were asked, would you go? Would you feel comfortable enough?
I probably would definitely go. I think that you made a statement earlier about your contact within the web of WWE about the main event of Cena versus Roman Reigns.
You can flush that one down the toilet.
I don't see it happening.
No, definitely not. Not happening now.
No.
But as noted,
I don't see Cena at WrestleMania at all.
when we had that conversation, that was what they were discussing internally.
Yeah.
See, and you know, there's a lot of imbeciles on the internet, but there are people that try and put forth information as they know it to be to try to put, I guess you'd call wrestling journalism out there. And if they put that statement out there that week, I don't think that ever hit the internet or anything, but that would have been a factual statement because if they said it was solidified, no. But if they said it is being discussed within WWE, John Cena and Roman Reigns, that would have been a factual statement at the time.
Well, I still stand on what I said before. Reigns doesn't need Cena to go over. He's doing very well. Him and Paul Heyman are doing very well right now.
Well, we're going to have an episode themed towards that within the next week or two.
Okay,
so
good. I'll be looking forward to that.
We're talking a little AEW Dynamite, Johnny.
I'm telling you, forget the Shaq deal. Shaq plays great basketball. I've seen him in the WrestleMania. I've seen him in the ring before. All I know is he's a giant. I guess the easiest way to beat a giant is you take him off his feet. So Cody distracts. In comes the young lady. Right over the back. Shaq's down. Very easy to take the giant down. Bang, bang, bang. Maybe a chair across the back. He's down. He's out. 1, 2, 3.
Do you think
disqualification?
Do you think one of the ladies gets the pinfall just to avoid having one of the men lose?
Very real possibility. Or it could be a double pin.
Interesting enough. All right, Johnny, what are your thoughts on AEW really almost turning into a tree with many branches right now, with all the different wrestling relationships they're beginning to develop and present on Dynamite on Wednesday night? You have Impact Wrestling with Don Callis coming down, an executive with the former TNA, which I think he's been an exceptional mouthpiece for Kenny Omega, who needs it.
He does, yes.
And now you have an involvement in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Kenta, the former Hideo Itami in NXT, who's back in the main event scene in New Japan, has recently joined the AEW roster as well. I mean, that's, you know, I hate to say it, but there are a few talents in AEW, I think, that have been utilized better than they ever were under the auspices of a WWE brand. And I think Kenta, one of the world-class, other than size maybe, certainly one of the world-class athletes in the sport, a little on the smaller side, but what a coup for AEW to, you know, just, we'll take Gallows and Anderson this week from Impact. We'll take Kenta from New Japan this week, and freshens the show up.
Well, that's what Tony Khan was saying. You never know who's coming. You know, Stop that. All I'm going to say is, get him off TV. Tony.
Johnny, I don't think he's only been on more than once or
He
twice.
does a couple of those commercials. It doesn't do
But
any
those
good.
are online things, are they not?
No, on TV.
With him and Tony Schiavone.
Yeah.
I come across them on social
No,
media.
they're on TV. They're live on TV.
My eyes must
You
drift
must
somewhere
not be
else
watching
when
the
they come on.
program then.
Oh, no, I
People
do it
like
every
you
week.
fall asleep, You're partying too much with Jeanette.
Too much with Marty, yeah.
Anyway, my whole thing is I think that they're on the right track because what they're doing is they're mixing it up. They're bringing the fans professional wrestling. I would not be surprised to see Lucha Libre next.
A little AAA action, maybe.
Yep, I think that would round that right out.
Well, I think I don't really follow the Mexican scene as much as I do
like
the
it.
United States, but I think Kenny Omega was the AAA champion at one point in the not so distant future, but maybe that'll open the door.
He's a great athlete, Kenny Omega. You watch that guy work, I'm amazed what that guy does in the ring. Amazed. As is Cody Rhodes. They got a lot of great talent.
Oh, yeah. I said, they have usually 1 or 2 segments or matches each week that are first class.
Yep.
And then sometimes there are other parts of the shows where I can't believe it's on television.
Well,
I don't understand.
Look at WWE, my friend. All I'm going to tell you is, you can't knock one without
But you know
knocking the
what?
other.
At least other than a handful of women, they're all high-quality, first-class professional wrestlers in WWE. There's some guys in AEW that they pull from the indie scene that are as green as grass in the middle of May. You know what I mean? I don't understand the concept of I don't know if you've ever watched it. I have not. They have the quote-unquote B show called AEW Dark. It's online. Oh, you have?
I watched.
On Tuesday nights.
Yep.
And it's sometimes 14, 15, 16 matches.
Yep. It's
That loses me.
it's a poor man's NXT. That's all I'm going to tell you.
All right.
It doesn't work. I'll be right up front with you.
Is it too long?
You just go, wow, hold on. And then you're absolutely right. You sit back and you go, why? Why is he in the ring? Why is she doing this in the ring? It makes absolutely no sense. I think what they're trying to do is grow too fast. So you got to, they've already crawled. Now the walking stages. I think another couple of miles on the walk. Then maybe we kind of step it up a little bit so we got a trot. But they're trying to go bang all the way. I think if they just slow it down a little bit, be a little more selective in who they put, where they put them, I think they're going to have a good deal. They could compete against NXT if they did it the right way.
Well, they've been beating NXT in the television ratings more often than not. So, and also on the flip side, AEW Dynamite is the A brand of AEW. NXT is the C brand of WWE. So it's not like you're taking out Raw or SmackDown, but who knows what could happen in a year from now.
I'll tell you, the fans are, everybody thought, and we said this before, and I said it, I was reading when the AEW started, 90 days, see you later, Vince, get the checkbook out, buy them, you'll have a conglomerate, you'll own it all, and guess what? Fooled you. They fooled you. They're still there, and they're getting bigger, and they're getting better, because they're offering a product that people really get interested in. Some of their storylines I watch it, I watch Raw, I watch SmackDown, I really want to be involved in what they're doing. Whereas in WWE SmackDown or Raw, how do you get into a 2-week or 3-week storyline? It's over, it's done, it's finished.
And sometimes not really all that interesting to begin with. Do you think Tony Khan's invitation to WWE will be taken up? When he said the WWE was more than welcome to come to Daly's place in Jacksonville, Florida.
Hell will freeze over first before...
Well, it's been a cold week.
It's got to be a lot colder. I cannot ever see that happening. I really can't.
Neither can I.
No.
Do you think it would be good for wrestling if it ever did?
I think if Vince and Khan could pull it off as not enemies, but as business people, and do that Monday Night War thing again, the ratings for both would blow through the roof.
You think that could generate new eyeballs?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. There again, that's brain saying, whoa, money. There's money to be made there. But no, I'll stand on my ground and say, if WWE ever got no.
WWE has so many irons in the fire, my God.
That's like Moniz becoming the next vice president. That's not
Or
happening.
Margot.
Absolutely. Miz has got a lot of pull.
Well, and she wants to do a little pulling, from what I understand.
Well, she talks about you, obviously, all the time I talk to her. That Daniel Raldi, he's quite the fellow, you know, I have to see him. Well,
I have one fan, Johnny, on here. I think a lovely lady named June McGowan. She always compliments how handsome I am during the live premieres. I don't know much about June. I don't know where she's from. She usually just leaves 1 or 2 comments and that's it. But, you know, don't let Linda find out, please. She'll crazy glue my wallet to her hip.
This is going to be on YouTube, so.
Yes.
Linda McGowan.
No, June McGowan.
June McGowan?
Yes.
June, do me a favor. Next time you send out a shout, show a picture.
I don't know if you can.
Was she on?
Well, she takes part in the live premiere.
Of course she can.
Well, she types in the premiere box.
Yeah, that's fine. Why not?
But I don't think you can send a picture in it.
You should be able to.
Howard, can you send a picture in the premieres? I need technical expertise.
No, you can't.
Thank you.
Why?
Howard.
Because that could lead to people giving out not nice pictures.
Well, remember what you went through the night of the Royal Rumble?
Oh, that kid was just, that was all made up, I'm telling you. Did you go through that and see it? You should, because...
You know what? I'm going to tell you why that happened when we're done. It'll probably make you feel better about it, and there's a little bit of logic as to how it happened. Not that it happened.
Anyway, moving right along.
You mentioned gimmick matches, Johnny. TNA, wow. No. AEW, not only are they preparing for their monster-sized Dynamite, no pun intended, with Shaq on March the 3rd, but that Sunday they have their next big pay-per-view offering. The first time, I believe the first time at least, they have gone the route of doing it on a Sunday, which I hate, because one thing I really loved about AEW is that, on par with how UFC does things, as opposed to doing it on family night on Sunday, AEW's pay-per-views were structured more towards the adult male. Even though I don't know if we should be having group gatherings, but along the lines of that. It was set up for more, again, I feel, towards the adult male to want to sit down and check something out like that, and maybe socially distance with a few friends if we want to be PC. I'm not sure if it has something to do with the boxing or a UFC pay-per-view offering that same weekend, but they decided to go the route of a Sunday night. And I have to say, I don't like it, Johnny. I like that AEW is different enough than WWE to go the route of doing it on the Saturday night. NXT, I thought NXT takeovers were great when they were on Saturday. Maybe not bundled together with one of the major WWE pay-per-views and having to have 2 pay-per-views the same weekend.
Yep. Now
that NXT pay-per-views are standalone, those are on Sundays. I like the idea of the Saturday. Is it just me, or is there something to it?
No, I think there's a little bit of magic on Saturday nights. It's that, I remember when I was a kid and still am a kid, Saturday night was the thing. Professional wrestling is on, the pay-per-views. The pay-per-views was during the day, if you remember, a lot of those.
In the early days, yeah, some of the WrestleManias would start at 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yep. And so Saturday night is...
Elton John said Saturday night's the night to fight, or something like that, didn't
he? All I know is that...
And I'm sure Elton's done some wrestling.
Another story for another time. But my whole thing is that Saturday night traditionally was Saturday night boxing, Saturday night wrestling, so that really makes a lot of sense to me.
Saturday night's main event on NBC
in the 80s?
The
Sunday night thing, you're up till 11:30, 11:45. You got to get up the next morning and go to work. Even if you work out at home, you got to be online and get going. So I'm really not a fan of Sundays. Saturdays I really like. Fridays or Saturdays are good.
I think Friday's a little tough to pull off because in traditional life, most people work on Friday.
Yep.
I think Saturday's the one perfect day of the week where you're not rushing from it.
Yeah, you can
and
plan it.
in theory, you're not rushing from everywhere, and unless you're going to church early on Sunday morning, you don't have to really get up too early the next morning. It's the perfect combination. And I think that's part of the reason why UFC found so much pay-per-view success. It was the best night of the week to get a group of, 15, 20 friends together and all chip in a little money, order some pizzas or some chicken wings and have some drinks and have some fun together. And now I think AEW, at least for this one offering, took a little of that magic away. But I guess at the end of the day, it'll be, what did it draw on pay-per-view?
There you go. That's the
most
name of the game.
important thing, right?
Name of the game.
But I know if I was an actual paying customer, I would much prefer to see it on Saturday than Sunday. But we look forward to trying to present the pay-per-view watch along here at the studio on Sunday night, March the 7th. Johnny, you mentioned gimmick matches. One of the main events for this show, I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it'll be Jon Moxley, an individual who I feel has done wonders in that company compared to what he was doing with his prepared, over-prepared, produced, boring promos in WWE, and what I feel is some very realistic style verbal in AEW. Jon Moxley will take on Kenny Omega, the AEW World Champion, not in just a championship encounter, but in a landmine match, similar to those exploding landmine matches in Japan from the early 90s that Cactus Jack and Terry Funk would partake in with Oneida and the FMW and IWA wrestling groups. I think if you're going to do it, you have to do it outside because of the smoke, but a real danger, I think, to both men.
Well, first of all, they're not using real landmines.
But what's going to make the explosives go off?
It's pretty easy. A little black powder, a little smoke. Looks really good when you hit it. They'll rig a trap so that the grass or whatever will go up in the air. It'll look like a landmine. You do not think for one moment, and you know what? I've been in a lot of matches, done a lot of things. But, you know, special effects are wonderful things. And you don't think for 1 minute they're not going to borrow the special effects from the movies and put those into a landmine match. Because I'll tell you this. Having had some friends in Vietnam that hit those things and their legs are gone, so it's just not going to work.
Have you ever seen any of those matches in Japan with Cactus and Funk? And I'll say this, for what they may lack in wrestling, for the first couple of times you see them, they are very visually impressive. And that barbed wire certainly is, when you see it digging into the skin, that's a rough night at the office. They deserve a nice, healthy payday for this.
I've been involved in barbed wire matches, managing.
Oh, all right.
I've been involved managing in staple matches. How these idiots take staples and drive them into their foreheads, it's beyond me. Thumbtacks. You got to be crazy to do this stuff. And now you're going to do this landmine match. First of all, I will say this. I can't wait to see that match.
You do want to see it.
You've got two of the best. Kenny Omega, what have I just said? Tremendous. Jon Moxley, since he's been out of the fold on the other promotion, he's been allowed to do what he wants, when he wants, basically, and you can see a difference in the whole individual.
It's unbelievable what they've brought out of him.
You see? But it was there all the time. It's just it was being held back for whatever reason. I mean, when you have a star like this, and he's got that type of capability, Vince, and it can't be Vince because Vince will usually let you run. So, he usually will. If the potential is there and he thinks that it makes sense, then it's a go, unless he doesn't want to push it.
So much more interesting than what Seth Rollins is doing back on SmackDown again as the Messiah.
Oh, please.
I mean, just, Ambrose just feels gritty. Like you're seeing someone that wants to go in there and have a fight. You know what I mean? As opposed to the atypical WWE sports entertainer. And I'm certainly not going to say anything negative about Roman Reigns, who I think is probably the best in the world right now. But what Ambrose is doing for Ambrose, or Moxley, is top notch. WWE really missed the boat on that man.
Second it, right here.
Absolutely. Another one, even though I wouldn't exactly call him an AEW main eventer, Lance Archer, a guy that spent a lot of time in TNA. He was in the WWE system. It might have been ECW during that brand. But now you have it managed by Jake the Snake Roberts. You have what is a very rarity in the business this day, 6'6", 6'7" guy. Why is he in that company and not WWE? Another one they really missed the boat on.
I think, and it's just me, you've got a lot of people involved in WWE now. Before it was one man with a great body of wrestlers, God rest his soul, the Pat Pattersons, the Briscoes, Arn Anderson, Michael Hayes. You've got people giving advice. Now, not taking anything away from Paul Levesque, from Triple H. You've got Shane involved, I guess. You've got Stephanie involved. She's supposed to be more on the woman's side, but we'll see. Vince is slowly taking a little less involvement, but what you are seeing WWE do is more and more business deals.
Big business
And
deals.
I can only say this. I don't know what it is to have that kind of money, probably never will.
Yeah, I don't know about
but
that.
when you build an empire like they're building, you build it to sell.
Really?
You build it to sell. And I can tell you this. I would think right now, with what they just did, the WWE has got to be worth billions to an
Now
investor.
you're referring to the Peacock.
Yep.
Another $1 billion deal.
What Vince has just put together, if he would have put that on the market right now, not that they have to worry about anything for the rest of their lives now, the grandkids wouldn't have to worry about anything for the rest
Their
of their lives.
grandkids.
That's right. The
think-
product right now is worth trillions.
Do you think that, I don't know about trillions.
Oh, let's be real. Throw a couple more.
Do you think the Khans might be interested in buying it? Well, they have much greater net worth than the McMahons. Wouldn't that be interesting? If Tony Khan came to the table to buy it.
I'm not sure, but that hasn't been broached. And Vince obviously is saying no, because it's not to the point where he's ready to part, ready to let go. People can say he's involved less and less. I can't ever believe that Vince McMahon will never not be involved in that business. Maybe when Vince finally says, I've had enough, that's when Paul, Stephanie, and Shane will decide it's time to get out of this. And they'll come out with billions. Seriously. The thing is a gold mine.
Well, what I think the best part about that deal with Peacock was they didn't sell it. They just licensed it for 5 years. So that's still,
there you go.
at the end of the day, it's still going to be theirs.
There you go.
You know what I mean? All right, as we wrap up AEW, Johnny, one that came across the email feed, so to speak, your thoughts on -1. I have some strong thoughts on
Tony
-1.
Atlas, -1?
No, I'm talking about the masked son of Brody Lee, the 8-year-old, that I thought putting him on TV once risked looking like exploitation, but the son is a monster wrestling fan, loves the business, was very happy to be here, I should say, maybe soothed the soul a little bit as far as what was going on in his reality. The great folks at AEW, a group of about 10 of them, took him to Disney World for his birthday. They have extended to him a legally binding contract that when he turns 18, he can have a job with the company if he wants to. But now you're probably approaching the 5th or 6th -1 wrestling segment on an adult wrestling show. And I don't know at what point the fans, or just if the general public comes across it, looks down upon what I'm sure of is great intentions to continue to put an 8-year-old on a wrestling television show. I think it's a little much at this point.
Well, there's a couple of things that kind of bother me. And I don't mean in a bad way, but one, when you're 18, we'll give you a contract. You got to be around 10 more years.
Okay, fair enough.
So AEW may not be around in 10 years. I'm sure if somebody came to Tony Khan and offered enough money, he'd sell AEW just like Vince McMahon. If it's enough, and what's my friend Ted always say? Everybody's got a price. So I would look at it that way. I would think that what they're doing now is oversaturation. Once or twice with this young fellow, I really was glad to see that. Having met the gentleman himself when he was with us and chatted with him, I think it's a great tribute. But there reaches a point where enough is enough, because the involvement level that he can get into is so little at this point. Where's the value? I think you've done what you need to do. Now it's either time to phase it out or come down with a serious storyline. I mean, serious.
No, I would not put an 8-year-old in a story.
But it's not going to happen. That's what I'm saying. You see what I'm saying?
Well, and again, I don't want to sound like the Grinch.
You are.
Never. Because you know how I am when it comes to, kids that go through difficulties in life with all the charity work that we do. I think there's a million different ways they can do nice things for that kid. I think they could open up the ring to him on an off day. I think they could open up the ring to him maybe after the shows. I think they could, continue to bring the family to the live events. I don't know if the mother is interested in working, but maybe have her work with the company and have the kids with them. There's a million ways they can have them around the AEW family that doesn't include using an 8-year-old child as part of a wrestling storyline on a pro wrestling TV show.
It only makes sense if it works. And it doesn't work. It doesn't work. I'll be honest with you.
All right.
So my thought is time to phase it out, time to bring, as you say, the family in if they need be, if they want to be part of that. And it may be part of a psychological thing that this young man needs to grieve in his own way.
Sure. And like I said, I think there's a lot of different ways they could do that.
Yep.
And
I don't think there's a need to do it.
Yeah.
I don't think it has a place right now in the
on
story.
TV. Like I said, off TV, I mean, they threw birthday parties for him, as I noted. He was part of their New Year's Eve celebration.
Yes.
I think those are very kind things to do for someone that
generous
needs it.
and kind.
But putting him on the TV show isn't the way to, in my opinion.
No,
Once
once or twice. I agree with you. No, I'm sorry. Sorry, fans. I have to agree with them this time.
Wow. Is it a full moon?
No,
I can't say.
really. No, no.
All right, wrestling fans, what do you think about all the AEW chatter we've had tonight? If you are watching the Friday night premiere after SmackDown, which might be just a little bit more interesting than SmackDown, unless Roman had a good week, let us know what you think in the premiere box to our right. The Super Chat button is always open for business to help us keep the lights on. We had a light blowout in the middle of the show with Marty over the weekend that needs to be prepared. As always, we mentioned the coronavirus has killed the nightlife for the Rockin' Marty Jannetty and those types of folks. Our world-class eBay store is open 24/7. You can add great merchandise, much of which you can see right here on this beautiful set, and add it to your wrestling man cave, give us a gift. I mean, Johnny, we're both Christmas people. It's never too early to start, I guess, if you really see something you like for someone you love, right?
Get it now, because you know what? If it was like the PlayStation 5, you wait too long, you won't get it. By the way, good news, restock is already out. Target, Amazon, where else? GameStop.
They're accessible now?
They'll be accessible, I believe, the middle of March.
Still, but even as we're taping this, not yet. Wow. That really was a popular thing.
I'm glad they fixed the glitches. That'll be
I'm
good.
just glad Baby Marati got his, or it would have been...
No, you know what?
I would have had a knot in my stomach on Christmas.
But you know what? I think it's time parents grow a pair and learn how to say no. Instead of paying $800, $1,500, and $2,000.
I didn't do that.
No, but you know what? It's time.
I couldn't have done that.
But it's time people say no.
You're not necessarily wrong, but to me, Christmas is the one day of the year where you try and make a little...
I raised 5 kids.
Magic.
And I'm going to tell you this.
Yeah.
You can make a lot of magic without doing the things that these people, or you did, and I'm not knocking you, you did what you had to do to make everybody happy. But you know what?
I just got lucky enough to find a bundle at the regular retail price, is all I did.
That's fine. That's good. That's fine. But still, if you couldn't have, I wouldn't have gone out of my way. It's better
I wouldn't have
that
spent...
people need to understand, especially the young people today, because everything is handed to them. So why don't you go with that a little bit? Why don't you, people are saying, I can't afford this, I can't afford that, yet they were paying $2,500 on eBay.
Wow.
Yeah, please,
The money
don't
that
get me
some
started
people
on
made
this.
off of that.
Don't get me started on
Well,
this.
I know Margot wanted to make a little Christmas magic with you, but that's a different story for a different time. And again, folks, before we go, don't forget, if you want more, geez, I'm all hiccups, I have no voice. Marty Jannetty, what did he do to me?
Bring Tony Atlas back. Me and Tony will do a great show for you.
You know what? That would be perfect. I could direct, Howard could instruct me what to do, and you and Tony could do the show.
We would
without
have,
me.
what a hell of a show that would be.
So it'd be the King Kong and Godzilla of personality.
Me, Marty, and Tony.
I don't know about that. Tony he doesn't want much to do with Marty. And then don't forget, fans, if you want more of us, head on over to the Patreon where you get early ad-free access to all 4 of our in-studio talk shows each week without the ads, no nothing. You get the acclaimed studio shoot interview DVD library that's been seen online by millions, and by millions more on the Howard Stern Show. You get Patreon exclusive access, and what really is important to me, you help keep professional wrestling legends working. So we continue to bring more great veterans and legends into this studio, folks that now are going on a year with almost no independent wrestling shows, with almost no autograph signings, with almost no conventions, which is just killing their income. You heard Tony Atlas on this program. His royalty check from WWE for the year 2020 was $206. If you're a Major League Baseball player and you played 10 years and you're part of the MLB union, you get $250,000 a year. Keep that in mind. Head on over to patreon.com/Boston Wrestling for complete details for one of the most fabulous, finest individuals you'll ever come across. He's Jon Cena Sr. I'm losing it this week, folks. I had too much Marty. I'm Dan Marty. We'll see you this Tuesday night for Wrestling Insiders at Your House with Tony. This gentleman will be back with us next Friday after SmackDown. We'll see you then. Good night.
The World Wrestling Federation was live at Northlands Coliseum in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, Sunday, February the 26th, 1989. Same birthday as Boston Wrestling Junior Ambassador Brandon Jay. In the opening contest, the Blue Blazer beat Nikolai Volkov. Hercules drew Mr. Perfect. The Bushwhackers with the win over the Rougeau brothers. Bret Hitman Hart defeated the Honky Tonk Man. Big John Studd battled Akeem to a time-limit draw. And in the main event, the Macho Man, Randy Savage, the WWF World Heavyweight Champion, retained the title over Bad News Brown via disqualification. If you were in Edmonton live, share your memories in the comment section below. Use the links in the description box to keep wrestling legends working in our eBay store and on our acclaimed Patreon streaming service so we can bring you more interactive superstar shoot interviews to relive the good old days of professional wrestling. Check it out. Boston Wrestling Sports in the MWF explodes into a new year with professional wrestling content galore and need you to join our family. Every Tuesday night at 10 p.m. after our Monday Night Raw review, it's Wrestling Insiders at Your House with WWE Hall of Famer Mr. USA Tony Atlas. Wednesday nights at 10 p.m. after NXT and AEW, join rotating legends on Wrestling Insiders Special Edition. Every Thursday night at 10 p.m. after our NXT and Dynamite review, it's Marty Jannetty's no-holds-barred sex, drugs, and rock and roll journey on Wrestling Insiders Party with Marty. Friday night after SmackDown, don't miss Jon Cena Sr.'s Wrestling Insiders Fabulous Fridays. Plus, look for classic clips, history videos, bonus live episodes, pay-per-view watch-alongs, and more. For less than a cup of coffee at Starbucks, get early ad-free access to our Wrestling Insider talk shows, our acclaimed studio shoot interview DVD library, and help keep wrestling legends working during the worst of times. Join our growing family at patreon.com/Boston Wrestling. Expect the unexpected in 2021.